Hello, everyone. Hope you guys are doing fine today. Thank the Lord for another Sunday. We're here. Monday morning for me, Sunday night in the US. Welcome, everyone, to the show. A couple of shout outs here. Good me and my dear friends. Hello, Yuko. Hope you're doing fine in Kyoto. It's getting warm here in Japan, right? It's supposed to be 37 degrees Celsius today. Pretty hot, about 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Hello, Matthew. I think Southern California is very hot at this time of the year as well. Yours, Owen, thanks for being here. All of you who are joining me now at this live stream, thank you for being here. I believe this quick sound check, but I think we are okay. Jairo from Brazil. Hello, Jairo. How are you? Como vai? I know you're learning English. So, what is above, what is below? Yes. So, welcome everyone for being here. Tammy, how are you? I'm so glad you're here. You made it. Even Victoria. Victoria made it. She is in Sweden and it's like 3 a.m. there. And so, I hope you have a Monday. It's a holiday for you that you can make it. You can sleep until late today. All right. So, thank you, all of you, for being here today. Yes, we have a few things that we should be talking about. Since last live stream, I decided to put together a more concise presentation concerning things that we have been talking. First of all, I want to shout out to a couple friends and show you some other things here. So we don't know exactly what's going on as far as this alien agenda. The symbol of and the colors of Venezuela is the color of the red wine. That's why here in Spanish says, "In my veins runs red wine." So they say that there's no blood in their veins; it's red wine. That's their national color, the jerseys. And so, what happened on the evening of June 24th? Everyone was expecting this alien aircraft hovering above the stadium, and we had an earthquake. And we know that those earthquakes now, I know that they are predictable, way ahead in advance. So pay attention here in this video. This family was watching the match in Venezuela exactly the time of the game. You can see here they were watching Brazil and there were two games going on at the same time. I'm not really sure. They were watching, yeah, I think it's Brazil and Scotland. And this lady here, look at her phone, starts buzzing. See there? She's getting the earthquake alarms, right? She's getting there, she's checking her phone, and you see the game in Brazil and Scotland's playing. And she keeps checking what's going on. And that exact moment, you see David Beckham drinking a glass of red wine. At the exact moment. So pay attention what's going to happen. Now they start running and everything starts shaking. It's not a coincidence. I mean, it's incredibly if anybody could say this is just a coincidence. See there? And that's when the earthquake, and everything falls and everything, the camera. And that's here you see the cover of I think the Economist magazine, the a glass of red wine being spilled. So I don't know. One might want to argue that it's just a coincidence. I do not think so. Shout out today from Oregon. The Trump administration's project to declassify new UFO files within a week, and we do have some new footage of UFOs. I'm gonna show you right now. That's from the last 8 hours. So let's watch
Early this
this.
morning, the Pentagon declassifying a bunch of videos that look weird, like this one. Look at this. What's that? What is that? What is that? We don't know. They don't say that. This is basically, all they're doing. They're releasing videos with very, very little context. This one right here, a lot of people are talking about this. Is this some sort of like half deflated balloon that's floating? Well, that's what witnesses apparently said it looked like. As it was flying with the wind, maybe 12 feet, maybe 15 feet, according to the report. But again, inconclusive. Okay, what about this one? Is this like lens flaring, lens artifacting, or is that actually something that is shooting off some different direction, like pointy things? We have no idea. A six-pointed star, it was picked up by the sensor over the Yellow Sea last year. And we, again, have no idea what it is. They are releasing a lot of videos, not very much context. And then there are these videos right here. These are obviously my favorite. It seems to show some sort of unidentified object, but that is just scratching the surface of all of it. And as you probably feel, we don't have a lot in terms of solid, concrete details. So we're going to put a pause on all of this UAP stuff until we actually get some solid answers.
Why didn't they manifest it or whatever? They were supposed to do this, the pre-programming, all the, the movies and everything. Why didn't they do that during the World Cup? Well, it's not over yet, but some of my Brazilian friends who have been looking at this whole thing have thought that perhaps they saw too many people were expecting it, and were aware they would probably think that this is all nothing from outer space, but it's a man-made event. So perhaps that's why they decided not to do anything during the this World Cup. But on the 24th of June, they knew it. They played the video exactly the time of the earthquake. David Beckham sips, you know, uh, sips some wine out of his glass exactly at the time when the earthquake, and the camera focused on him right at that time. So, I don't think this is all a coincidence. I think everything is planned, and it's a language they speak among themselves. We just have to try to break down and try to understand the messages that are being displayed in moments like this. Another thing that I want to say, I mentioned this, so there are a couple of videos that you can watch on YouTube about China's population. China's population is a lie, under 1 billion, too many dead, no one on the streets, no one in offices, no one in restaurants. China's population under 1 billion. This one here, they are disappearing. Something weird is happening in China. This one here, China's 1.4 population is a lie, only 500 million people. Very interesting. And this one I was watching, this is one that really caught my attention, this first one, because in around, I think, I would say like halfway, they were interviewing a guy, and the guy says that his city used to have a lot of people, and after the jab, they disappeared. Many of them disappeared. So this is a sort of reducing the population, meaning, like that's what they are doing with this stuff. So very interesting video. Another thing, I'm always trying to find new flat Earth videos. I ask ChatGPT for the prompt so we can bypass the censorship. So I'm always trying, and I came across this one, and this is really funny because there's a full interview, 2 hours, 24 minutes with Mr. Campanella, and he only had like 87, views. That was online for 22 hours, only 87 views, and now has like 200 views. So not even Globers like Jerry Campanella, because this is what happened when you betray. You know, if you are a betrayer, even Globers will know what kind of person you are. Like this guy here in Brazil, when he flipped, betrayed, he thought he was going to become very popular, very famous. Nobody wanted to talk to him. He went to one Glober channel, and that was it. Nobody likes a betrayer. You see the six biggest betrayers in history: Judas Iscariot, Brutus. This Benedict Arnold here, very interesting. He betrayed the American Revolution by attempting to surrender West Point to the British for personal gain. And this guy here who betrayed Norway, this one who betrayed his own ruler and people by siding with the British East India Company, leading to British control over Bengal. And of course, Mr. Jaron Campanella built a flat earth platform, gained 700 Patreon supporters, then sold out the Globe narrative. Now he disses flat earth and mocks his former supporters. So nobody likes a betrayer, and that's why nobody pays attention to this guy. So, and shout out to my friend from Austin. He was visiting the US. Now, this is me and my daughter. That was last Friday. We met in Nagoya. We stayed there the whole time in Nagoya Station. There are plenty of places to go, restaurants. I wasn't walking. He was walking. My daughter was walking. I just found a place to sit, had a coffee. But it was good to meet with him. Very nice. So let me go back here to the chat for a minute, and then we're going to start talking about what we have for today. Got a few things that I want to cover today. So, hello, DJ New Moon is in the house. Thanks for being here. Nobody goes back to the Global Snow. Of course, those guys were from the beginning. They were control position anyway. All that TFE, all that stuff. You know, Crystal is in the house. Hello, Crystal. How are you? So thank you all of you who are joining us now. Let's go ahead and get started. So for some of you flat earthers who are here today, we are supposed to look at we gotta look back to the everything, we've been taught it's been a lie, especially for the last 200 years, especially the last 200 years. So we're gonna look at everything that's been happening in the last 200 years. And last week I was talking about and I'm saying this, I'm not criticizing Pastor Dinodo. I love him in Christ, and I wish we could talk because he has blocked me and he doesn't want to talk. But I wish we could talk someday. Uh, what I'm gonna say is just like it's pretty obvious, it's out there, and we should not be afraid of looking at. If you're searching for the truth, you gotta be looking everywhere. You know, don't protect this side. I think it's, like I had an experience this week with a friend. He exposes, all those pastors who supports the globe or Freemasons. But when it concerns dispensationalism, there those very same pastors get protected. He protects those guys. So I found that weird. Why don't you criticize or examine or research everything? Why are you protecting this? And why are you looking over? Like I found that weird. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started here. Uh, so this shout out to Dutch peasant. I took this screenshot from his one of his videos. He's showing here the Dutch Bible from 1716, which state, okay, that Satan had been released, maybe in the 1500s, a little bit over. We don't know because between 700 to 1,000 years have been added to our timeline. So we don't even know what year we are right now. But he pointed out the German Bible, the Luther Bible of 1534, also testify of the 1,000-year reign in the past. Right there, the comments of the Luther Bible. The 1,000 years began right after this book was written. For the Turks only, meaning the Bible, for the Turks only came after 1,000 years. Till then, the Christians remained and ruled without the devil's deception. Notes on Revelation 20. So Luther was saying here after the devil was released in the 1500s, according to the fake calendar, the Turks were able to do what they did. And here, the Dutch Bible, almost no peoples, either in the East or in the West, were completely free of deception at the time of Satan's release and for some time afterward. But I went further and I researched all the other Bibles. So I downloaded the French Bible, the French Geneva Bible, 1562. It does contain the same note there. So some others I still have to download. There's the Spanish, little known, perhaps not, but some others, even the Catholic Church, the Reina. This one, 1637 from the Netherlands, also 1604 until 700s. The annotated Luther Bibles all have this commentary that Satan had been released and the 1,000 years are in the past. The David Martin French Bible, same thing. The 1744 John Frederick Cotteswald Bible, same thing as the comments there, the 1,000 years, uh, the Millennium Kingdom are in the past. And I'm trying to find the 1753 Portuguese Bible to see if there's any note there about it. Very rare, very difficult to find, but I'm looking for. So up to the 1700s, late, perhaps 1753, we don't know, but at least half of the 1700s was common knowledge, the idea that the 1,000 years of Christ had been in the past, had already gone. Okay, so what changed it? So in the 1800s, things started to change, you know? So let's look at this as dispensationalism as a made in USA doctrine, from the Manifesto Destiny to Zionism, exporting American theology to the world. So there is a video on BBC from the 60s where the two guys are talking and they go in details on how many things are planned, from rock music to the hippie movement to disco, to everything is planned, and sometimes 20, 30 years in advance. So they have an agenda, and every decade, and they have for the century, because everything that happened in the 1800s was to prepare America, and it's called the American century, the whole 1900s, because everything was prepared in the 1800s for that. That's where we're going to look right now. So we had this guy, Fabian Guglia von Wellinghausen. He's from Russia. He took a voyage around the flat Earth. Took him 2 years. He went from 1819 to 1821. So it took him 2 years to go around. Of course, if Antarctica was just a little continent, it would take him 6 months the most, but it took him 2 years. So when we finished in 1821, he published a book about his voyage, in details. And the interesting stuff in his book is that the measurements, the distance, the way they explain the latitude as 360 degrees, not 180 and the east and 180 west. Everything was based on a flat Earth and on a flat Earth map. So what happened? 2 years after that, in 1823, they released the second edition of his book, and everything had changed. They changed everything on the book to globe, everything in just 2 years. So you see the deception. They changed the book, the first edition to the second, from flat Earth to globe Earth. In just 2 years, they completely erased the history right there. Other things that happened in the 1800s. So what do we mean the universe is flat? Part two, in which we actually answer the question. So this is an article from the Scientific American that in the 1800s, George Bernhard Riemann, okay, this mathematician, he is the one, the mathematics required to fully make sense of curvature was invented in the mid 1800s by George Bernhard Riemann, and it's rather intricate. But curved space is a fact of life, blah, blah, blah. So they had no way to navigate a so called globe because there wasn't even a mathematics that could calculate anything on the globe, spherical. There was not, everything was done because the earth is flat and everything was done calculated as earth being flat. So everything started changing. And as a matter of fact, his theory, I think, was like 1825, that the so-called Haversine formula was created. In the 1800s, everything started changing in the 1800s. You see here a Times of London, published in 1872, and this is an article that the Chinese astronomers published. They paid, and they placed this in 1872 in the Times of London. We have better philosophers and men of higher intelligence than any you have ever been able to produce. You tell us that the earth goes round the sun, when we know by our senses that it does not. If you won't use your eyes and believe what you see, you must be deaf to all teaching and instruction, and we will have nothing to do with you. Okay? Parallax quoted that is on page 254. That you see the article published on the Times of London, 1872. So you see a lot of changes here. Paper dinosaurs. The word dinosaur is coined in 1842. Right there, you can find this article online. 1842, they came up with this dinosaur stuff. So many things happening in the 1800s to change the future, the next 200 years with what we have today. So America's plan to influence the world to create the American century. It all started in the 1800s. So early in 1823, we have the Monroe Doctrine. The original purpose: keep European powers out of the Americas. In the American century, the Western Hemisphere becomes the starting point for broader American leadership extending beyond the Americas. Now, number two, in 1840s, this is where we get into dispensationalism, right here. It's called the Manifest Destiny in 1840s. The original purpose held that Americans had the providential. Now, pay attention to this providential, because this is a Freemasonic word. Okay, the Freemasons love this providence word. They use it a lot. You see, you can identify if someone is a Freemason because they use this. They say thanks to Providence. They say, oh, Providence did this, Providence did that. That's a Freemason um, coined word. So we have that Americans had the providential mission to spread Protestant religion and its eschatology, the whole dispensationalism idea. Democracy, capitalism, American education, institutions, and style. Then we have the sea power, the Manhattan in 1890s, original purpose, naval supremacy, overseas bases, control of trade routes. Okay, that plays a long part here in the American century, 1900s. Strong navy, worldwide bases, and protection of international shipping becomes central to U.S. leadership. Have the open door policy in 1899. The original purpose: equal commercial access to China. Those single powers should dominate. And then it plays a part again in the American century. I'm not going to go over the 1900s. What interests us now is the 1800s so far. Okay, so this is all from the 1800s. Everything we see in the 19th, 20th century came from the 1800s. So let's get into religion, and then you see how dispensationalism plays a part in the American conquest of the eschatology, and it's spreading. So we have the Mormonism in 1830s, founded by Joseph Smith. But here it's where it gets interesting. Dispensationalism in 1830s, developed by J. N. Darby in the 1830s, not American, but it was popularized in the US through the Schofield Bible. Key ideas: rapture, Israel, church distinction, prophetic timelines, futurist interpretation. So that's where this whole idea of dispensationalism, third temple, uh, everything came about 200 years ago in the 1830s. So we have the revivalism and the Seventh Day Adventists, everything in the 1800s. Okay, let me go back here. The design theology, Pentecostalism in the 20th century, prosperity gospel, word of faith, Christian Zionism, mega church model, contemporary worship industry, and Seventh Day Adventism. So everything came from this, the eschatology adopted from this idea. So let's see the man behind it. So we have the guy, the first great American promoter, introduced John Nelson Darby teachings to American evangelicals, organized the Niagara Bible Conference, helped establish dispensational teaching among pastors. Okay, without brooches, Darby might have remained a niche figure. So this guy, 1818, 1896, popularized and start really preaching. So it's no revelation. It's just everything was designed by design. And you have the Schofield guy made dispensationalism accessible to millions. He added the Schofield Reference Bible, simplified the Darby system, added explanatory notes, charts, and timelines, helped millions understand prophecy. So it's not that he helped, he shaped. Okay, everything was now according to his point of view or to the dispensationalist point of view. So what happened to the Bibles from the 1700s? Stating that the 1,000 years were behind. They got rid of them and made new Bibles, new interpretation. So so you see here the manipulation of doctrines and dogmas. How everything was manipulated by these people. So what did they do? They created uh, the seminars. Started they started to uh, train, teach thousands. Look at here, this guy, Lewis Perry Shaffer. He founded the Dallas Theological Seminary, created the intellectual headquarters of modern dispensationalism, trained thousands of pastors, missionaries, and teachers who carried this teaching worldwide. But that was not in the 1900s. Actually, in the 1800s, the first four missionaries to Brazil, Protestant, they were all Freemasons to start with, and they went there in the 1800s, already spreading this dispensationalist idea. So it was basically a teaching. They manipulated the eschatology, the whole thing. They got rid of the 1700 Bibles, start editing and creating new Bibles to support this new creation. And then we can go more, like this Charles Huey, this guy here, and then all the guys who shaped J. Dwight Pentecost, Pentecostalism, all that stuff. Hal Lindsey with his late great Planet Earth, pure dispensationalism. Tim LaHaye with his Left Behind, Jerry B. Jenkins. Okay, so this is what is being taught today at church as being the absolute truth, which is not. It's a manipulated, created specifically to one purpose, to have what we have today. Uh, so basically, this is the list of them. All of them, all those guys that I've showed you right now: James B. Brooks, C.R. Scofield, Schaffer, Mulwall, Real High, Pentecost, Lindsay, LaHaye, all of them Zionists, all of them. So you have the scale is tilted towards the Zionist idea. It's not an evening. That's why they got rid of the 1700 Bibles, all the Bibles that stated that 1,000 years that was in the past, and created this whole idea of futurism, everything in the 1800s. So the Manifest Destiny, 1840s, he held that Americans had a providential mission to spread democracy, Protestant civilization, capitalism, American institutions, and Zionism. So that's where you get your 2000 years. That's why they reinterpreted Daniel 9. And please, I really wish somebody could share today's live stream with Pastor Dinodo, because he is a truth seeker. He researched NASA, he researched everything. He's got to take a look on this. He has to, because what's being taught today is not prophecy. It's just a script, and he's following the script really well. So all those missionaries that started going to, Brazil, 1800s, I told you that, most of them were Freemasons. The first ones were all Freemasons. And that's what result. You have these churches, Protestant churches, that are led by, Freemasons. There's an agenda there. And I want to show you some stuff, guys, that you're gonna freak you out. So I already displayed. This guy it's called Bisp. He's an off. He came out of the Assembly of God, and he built his own church there that looks like the Solomon's Temple. So I went to his website this week. This is his website. There his church. You see the globe there burning. And he's got the same dispensationalism, scary tactics. Daniel 27, interpreting the Antichrist is coming, all that stuff that we already covered. That Daniel 9 is a prophecy about Jesus Christ, has nothing to do with the Antichrist or the third temple. But of course, he has to use that stuff, you know? So I want you to listen to this video right here. Let me see if I think I uploaded. Just check here real quick. Yeah, so I did remove this for a minute. So I did use 11 Labs to translate. This is a pastor in Brazil. He was called like teaching his fellow pastors what to do. So, pay attention to this and then we will get right back.
Do you understand what I'm telling you or not? Man, it's a trick. It's something you learn to make money. People do everything out of faith. Everything because of faith, okay? They give their lives for it. They sell their lives for money. So what are you going to offer them? Money. And they're the ones who'll end up paying you, understand? It's all about promises. So here's what you're going to do. First, you build a cage. Have you ever had a bird without a cage? Why? Because you need the cage to keep it trapped. It's locked up for you. So you create a church. There are churches on every street corner, son. Go start one. Got it? Then you're worried about doctrine? Whatever you tell them, they'll believe. Throughout history, there have even been places where people were told to kill themselves. And they all did. Come up with the blessed bean, the blessed newspaper, the salt mat, the anointed water, the water from some special place. You get it? What matters is that you make promises to them. If you do this, you'll receive. If you take this anointed water, if you bring the offering envelope, God will honor you more and more. You invent something and you build a cage. Keep them trapped inside it and say, "These are my people." Then create your own doctrine so they'll become just like you. Understand? Your people have to become your image. Understand? Tell them that baptism in the river is special, that it washes away their sins. Tell them their sins float away in the river. Understand? Then sell them a little bottle of anointed water. When they drink it, they'll feel like they're being blessed because of the water. Understand? Then bring out the offering envelope. Put out the envelope, ask for a large amount and say, "If you believe, you'll take part. If you don't believe, you won't. That's it. You've shifted the blame onto them. Understand? That's how it works. Otherwise, you're just throwing money away. But if you keep preaching grace, the love of Jesus, and that Jesus saves, you won't make any money, son. You'll starve one of these days.
All right, this is a pastor. He was filmed, like giving some instructions to some of his colleagues how to do it. And I tell you, I had an experience very similar to that. Back in 2000, I believe it was 2015, early 2015, I met an American missionary here in Japan. At first, he seems to be a very nice guy. I liked him, and I thought was a very nice guy. I brought him here. He sat down here. We talked a couple of times, and I found it weird because he used to go to America to go back to church and request money there because of the mission here in Japan. Blah blah blah. But he was building stuff here. He was like buying houses and stuff. But that's okay. I have nothing. He told me he had inherited money anyway. But then one time he came over here and we talked here in my living room. And he proposed something, which I share with my wife later. And she told me this guy is not a missionary. He is a businessman. He is something else, not a missionary. So what he proposed to me was this thing. Where I live here, I have a large Brazilian community here in this region, and he doesn't speak Portuguese. So he proposed that he would, and he talked like a businessman. Okay, he would rent a place here, like some sort of building, not a big building like stories high, but like perhaps a 2 store high, construction site. And he wanted to put up a church. And he told me how the specific. He would invest 1 year in that church, uh, buy all the equipment, everything necessary. And because he doesn't speak Portuguese, I would be like his interpreter. And he wanted like 50-50. And he would say, the first year we're gonna lose money. I mean, he said he was gonna invest, but from the second year, uh, by experience, he knows that on the second year he would start making money off that church. And he proposed that we could split. And that was his proposal. He was talking to me like that. And then for to meet with me, that was back 10 years ago. He wanted to talk with me specifically about this in private, and he paid me $400 at that time just to meet with me and talk about this proposal. Now, I did not charge him because I don't charge anybody. I talk to anybody, just met with somebody. But he told me, no, I want to give you this money and let's talk. So when I shared that stuff with my wife told me, don't get involved with this guy. He's not a missionary. He doesn't, he's a businessman. So I sent him a message saying, no, I'm not interested. Sorry about that, but I'm not interested. If you want to I'll give you our money back. And he got mad at me. He never wrote me back. And so a lot of those churches, and this guy, this video, you just watch it, you see how it is. And dispensationalism is a tool for them. It's a great tool for them to spread fear. You know, it's a great tool for them. And that's why there's a lot of reasons why I dropped dispensationalism like 10 years ago. And the more you look at it, and that's why some people are afraid of looking at it, they are being very defensive. Like this guy, he's defending dispensationalism like a glober defends the globe with some stock words, answers. And but there's no really foundation. This whole thing, the Bible. If you read the Bible, you understand that those things are past. Chorazin is gone, the bedside is gone. The temple is destroyed. Everything is gone. The army surrounded Jerusalem. The disciples had to run to the mountains. Everything is gone. But it's important for those people to keep preaching this stuff, to keep them under a cage. I well, going back here, I'll check the chat in just a second. I just have a few more slides. So this guy, this very same guy, this bispo here, he's an offshoot of the Assembly of God. Fraud. The fraudulent bankruptcy de Mercedes Digimais Bank and the suspected offer of purchase, blah, blah, blah. So what did this guy do? He created a bank, like a bank. And besides founding his own church, he founded a bank. So the Brazilian government found out that out of his 50 billion, the bank is supposed to have like $50 billion. There are $8 billion that's gone missing. $8 billion of this guy's bank. Now, if you look at him, he has houses in New York. They have Ferraris, they have Lamborghinis. So, and at the same time, they spread the fear, of dispensationalism. And this is a video. These all these pastors here. I pledging allegiance to him. And guess what? They are all from the Assembly of God. They are pledging allegiance. There was a service there where they pledged allegiance and honor him, you know. So it's all disgusting, guys. It's all disgusting. And all originated in the 1800s out of these guys here. And when they decided to spread dispensationalism, especially in Latin America and Africa, to have American influence over them. So that's how I see it. And I know some people said sometimes, like last week, there was a guy here, he was cussing me out. And, but if you are in America, you're probably proud. Oh, but it's not like that. You try to look at this as something that has nothing to do with religion, but power and influence, and especially Zionism. It shaped what we have today. You know. Thank you, brother. So I don't know if you guys try to understand what I'm trying to say. Okay, I really don't know if you understand, but this whole dispensationalism, third temple, and and I feel sad because Pastor uh, Dinaldo does not want his followers, his members of his church, to look at the little season. I played this video last week. Perhaps I should play it today, and let's take a listen again.
Let me just tell you right now, that whole we're in the little season, no, we're not. You're being deceived and lied to and manipulated. And anything YouTube's pushing and not censoring, I can tell you right now, it's a lie. And it's pushing that little season lie. We ain't even close. We haven't had the 1,000-year millennial reign of Jesus on the earth. We haven't had the second coming of Jesus. All of that is a demonic, satanic deception. Those days will come. I know some of you looking at me funny. If you get into false doctrine, contrary to what you've been taught, and you start causing division, I don't even have to consult anybody. I can set your butt right out the door and shoo you right along. Not going to have it. Say, Pastor Dean, that sounds mean. It's Bible. Romans 16. Mark those that cause divisions, offenses, contrary to the doctrine you've learned. Mark them, and it says avoid them. How can you avoid them if you let them stay?
So I'm not even going to play the whole thing. So what happened to all the Christians who believed, the ones who wrote about it, the Bible translators, Martin Luther, all the King James translators? What happened to all those people who believed, not only believed, they stated, no, we are, the 1,000 years have passed. Everything happened 50 years after Jesus died on the cross. Within 50 years, everything had been fulfilled. So is dispensationalism really the beginning, or it's the very last? It's the new kid on the block? Okay. So when you go again, it's very tricky. You know what Pastor Dinado is doing there, and his lack of research. And I'm saying this with brotherly love. You know, I'm not criticizing him like throwing him under the bus. I'm saying this with brotherly love. He has not looked. He has not tested dispensationalism. He thinks it's. I don't even know what he thinks it is. But dispensationalism is the new kid on the block. It's a made for political agenda doctrine. Entire thing, 1800s, when Zionism started to flourish, that's when they started to promote this whole idea of, third table, the 2,000 years gap and everything. I mean, he has to look at that, and he should not cage it, his the members of his church into, oh, you either believe what he teaches or get out of the church. You know, that's bad. You should not do that. We are encouraged to research everything. It's just like the guys who say, oh, you should not research the jab. You just have to take it. Don't research it. Don't look at it. Because he is doing the same thing. So I asked him to open his mind and encourage people. Well, let's look at that. Let's look at the reasons. Why were they spreading dispensationalism in Latin America and Africa? Why this American dominance over eschatology? Why everything is Dallas seminar or other seminars in the US? I mean, everything has to be looked at. This has nothing to do with faith or Christianity, everything to do with manipulation, right? I really ask, if, I don't know, if somebody can talk to him because he has blocked me, but perhaps he should look at what he's been teaching and put it to the test. I have put it to the test, and I don't see any logic. There's no 2,000 years gap there in Daniel, you know. So everything is a house of cards. If you start looking, everything falls down, and then you have somebody who has been preaching about eschatology, and that's another thing, One of his sermons that I was watching, he was saying, "Oh, I learned this in seminar 30 years ago." Well, what did I just say to you? 30 years ago, when I had my master's degree, I learned that earthquakes are not predictable. As a matter of fact, after the Venezuela earthquake, I watched a couple of normies talking about experts, and they were saying, no, earthquakes are not predictable, but they are. And everything has to do with the alignment of the wandering stars, has nothing to do with the activity in the center of the earth. And so 30 years ago, I was taught the wrong thing. So just because he went to seminar 30 years ago, it doesn't mean that he wasn't taught the wrong thing. No, they were teaching this since the early 1800s, 1823, 1830s and 40s. They were already teaching this, false doctrine, which I call a false doctrine. Okay, so everything is to benefit Zionism. That's what it is. It's a made for a political agenda, eschatology, starting in the 1800s. Yeah, it wasn't created in the US, it was popularized in the US. Just like cars, the Europeans came up with the concepts first, but Ford mass produced it and exported to the world. Same thing, dispensationalism. It's an idea they uh, started teaching the seminaries, creating thousands and thousands of missionaries, and send them, exporting them to Latin America, Africa, and all over the world. Okay, it's a man-made, manipulated doctrine. So I hope I've been trying to be clear enough. I know sometimes I have one or two people who don't want to listen. They just think like, no, it's they see it as a supreme revelation, which is not. So I want to move. I want to play our first song for today. And as we were talking about the World Cup, We don't know what's going on there. If they're gonna do any alien, I don't know. They might have changed their plans, as some of my Brazilian friends are saying. But one thing is very clear: they have an agenda. And any game that you see that's being corrupted, there's no glory in winning when you are corrupted and you're cheating your way to the top. There's no glory into that. But a specific people like to do things by cheating, and they cheat on everything, you know. So I'm gonna play this next video, and I hope you guys understand that it's not flat Earth related, but I put it together because what's going on right now. Let me see if I find it here. Yeah, so let's take a listen to this video right here.
This July, please bring the fourth cup to Argentina in the Mundial.
Shame on you. Shame on you. FIFA. The FIFA Federation of the World Cup has fallen. Its true representation is gone. They became servants to power and pride, while the people were pushed aside. Ticket prices keep climbing higher. Only millionaires can afford the fire. Shame on you. FIFA. Shame on you. FIFA. Shame on you. FIFA. Mr. Omar Artan is an icon, a proud and honorable voice of Africa, a true representation of the continent, a symbol of dignity and strength. Trump does not know yesterday or today, and we condemn this without delay. Free FIFA from its chains of shame. Gianni Infantino resigning name. African teams, we ask you to return. We will speak it loud and clear. This is humiliation to Africans, a scandal against FIFA, an insult to justice, a dark scar on the modern world. We must stand for what is right and reject what is wrong. Let us vote and free Mr. Omar. Let truth make us strong. Hello, Somalis, do you hear me? It is broad daylight. What is happening to you? Why do you not stand together? Open your eyes and rise as one. Yes, we can become who we were before, and even stronger than before. Tusa iskutir sada, habakina takta dadan, tagera waligine. My name is Adam Shimbiroles, and this is my message.
All right, that was it's very sad what's going on. So there is, I don't know, this is not about soccer. I don't want to talk about it, but it's very sad what's going on there. Corruption and manipulating. Everything is manipulated by these people, from the 1800s, from the seminars, the Bible, the New Bible, Scofield Bible. They own, it's sad because this friend of mine who tried to defend dispensationalism and attack the little season. He showed a picture of a current map of the Middle East with the cities there. You're using a McGraw, Tim McGraw, Maxwell, Robert Maxwell, and Ghislaine Maxwell publishing company book with a map they published. and to say that the cities and the places are the way it is today. When we look at the old maps, the Urbano Monte map, and we see that that region, Gog Magog, it's all surrounding the North Pole. Has nothing to do with that region where it is right now. So everything is being manipulated. And if you don't see, and especially when you defend the whole scatology based on fake maps, and false maps. Rivers have been changed. They changed the name of 1,000 rivers or 2,000 rivers, regions, countries. Everything is being manipulated and has been since the 1800s. And it seems like many truthers that I would be more critical and would look at this stuff sometimes cover their eyes. They don't want to see. And I was really surprised to know, like, you don't want to see this. All right, so not much going on in the chat here, but I hope you guys are following me and trying to understand what I'm trying to say here. I've got a few more things that I want to say. Uh, this is concerning. Let me share my screen. This whole messy stuff, and then we see how they really worship their goat. You know, that's the goats meet the goat. He's not the greater. They cheat to favor him, but you see that, and he has, I think, the goat also tattoo on his body. And look at this lady here. Look at her necklace right there. See there? So these are the people who owns the publishing company. She's a Rothschild. She's one of them. So these are the people who owns the Bible companies today. The Brazilian Society, I think it's a Brazilian Biblical Society, which is supposed to be non-denominational and publishes the Bible. And they are Freemasons, are run by Freemasons. So what can you get? You get from everywhere. You get corrupted, from sports to church. You get all corrupted leaders, corrupted pastors, corrupted leaders. That's all you get. So it's very heartbreaking for me to see when I see some truthers, flat earthers that I consider that should be looking at all every detail, but they're still caged. They're still in this cage. Their mind is still like, well, and I don't know. All right, so let me go here. I've got a few more things that I want to talk about it. I want to illustrate to you how the whole sun. It's very easy to understand. So I always explain this to students of mine here when we're talking. So I decided to create these slides. So here in Japan, we have those kind of kerosene heaters. And when I used to teach in a room there, it was a big room, bigger than this here. And there were two heaters, but just one that heated really well. And we used to bring closer to us. And we were warm. We could have our class because that heater was there. But if you went to the other side of the room, it would freeze because that heater is local, was heating just the red region right there. And if we moved to the other side, that person would get warm and this person would freeze because the heater was not enough to heat the whole room. So this is what happens with the sun. When the sun is in around Antarctica, tropic of Cancer, that's why it's warm over there, but cold here in the north. We are freezing because we have a local sun. A 93 million miles away sun would not have make this difference in just 3,000 miles. If you fly, for example, from Georgia in the wintertime, very cold, just to the equator, 3,000 miles south. It's so warm over there, shirtless. You go shirtless. So this is the sun right here. When the sun is in the south, it's cold here in the north. When the sun is approaching, is at the north, it's winter time in the south. So pretty easy to understand, and I use this idea when I explain to my students. So I decided to create these two slideshows that makes it even easier to explain that we have a local sun, and when the sun is here in the north, it's cold in the south. When the sun is moved to the south, it's hot over there and it's cold over here. So let's say this is north, this is south, summertime in the south, wintertime in the north. When the sun comes to the north, it's wintertime in the south. All right. So let me see here. I think we're good. We're doing, still got time for a couple more slides here that I want to present. Let me exit this for a minute. So last week we did have a guy. I had to block him because every time he's on the show, he's always very aggressive, extremely aggressive, and calling me names just because of the little season, because he's stuck in the matrix, in the futurism matrix, created, manipulated, and some people can't break free. So these are I have shown these slides before, and I will just share again. Dispensationalism and globe, they go hand in hand. There's no, you cannot break them apart because, both of them extremely highlighted. Actually, I want to talk to you. I have already 500 compilations, TikTok compilations in my channel uploaded. So it's very hard for me to find one video that I included in a compilation, let's say 4 or 5 months ago. I don't know where exactly the video is, but I remember one of this person. She had found a book written, I think it was 1793. It's either 1783 or 1793. It's an American book. I think it's an almanac. So it's not a religious book, you know. And it talks a lot about survey and many geography related topics, right? And half of the book, it says there is a title on the second half of the book. It's titled "The Doctrine of the Globe." Okay, again, this is not a religious book. It's not criticizing the globe. It's just presenting the doctrine of the globe. That was 1783, 1793, something like that. And then he flips the page and he starts reading. He's showing like the problems that we now have to find solutions because they are being told to teach the globe from now on. So they were having the book is pointing out the difficulties and the challenges, not the rejection. They were not rejecting the globe. It's just looking at the problems they would have to face and the challenges they were facing into transforming everything from flat Earth to globe Earth. That's what I'm saying. That's the Haversine law, Haversine formula created in 1825. So everything changed in the 1800s. They started this new globe, and along came the eschatology. So it's very difficult to separate eschatology, dispensationalism, third temple, 70 weeks of Daniel prophecy, Antichrist, from the globe. Because the ones who preach the one preach the other. The ones who defend the one defended the other. You know? So I hope my friends who are flat earthers will look at dispensationalism with a grain of salt. It's like, wait a minute, is this really, was this being taught by the apostle, by the whole church for If you go by the fake calendar until the 1800s, no, it was not. It was only after the 1800s, right? So it's very important that if you are a flat earther, you need to look at this. You cannot swallow this dispensationalism doctrine lie because it's a construct. It's been a construct in the 1800s as a Zionist tool to have what we have today. That's why we have corruption in FIFA, because these people have been corrupting the Bible, the seminars, the pastors for the past 200 years, way longer than that, of course, but openly since the 1800s. I'm going to play another song right now, second song of the day. I want to play that North Pole song where everything is centered.
You can take your trip down south, a bit of fun to do. I hope you find what you're looking for. I pray you don't turn blue. I am lured up to the north, a feeling stuck like glue. I sense the answers that I seek on a mountain called Nauru. I'll be welcomed a hero for making the dreadful trip. Making the dreadful trip with hugs all around from the flat earthers who followed the same script, followed the same script. I feel I could trek with compass in my hand, keep my sights on the needle north, wind up in a far-off land, become a bold explorer, traversing sea and land, perhaps a little pirate-like, with a cutlass in each hand. I'll be welcomed a hero for making the dreadful trip, making the dreadful trip, with hugs all around from the flat earthers who followed the same script, followed the same script. No, this sounds like a pipe dream. Maybe I've lost my grip. Maybe this is a call to someone with a ship. Perhaps it's just a shout out to all the dreamers. I'll be welcomed a hero for making the dreadful trip, making the dreadful trip, with hugs all around for my fellow flat earthers who followed the same script, followed the same script. I'll be welcomed a hero for making the dreadful trip, for making the dreadful trip, with hugs all around from fellow flat earthers who followed the same script, followed the same script.
All right, I really like this song. I'm going to be talking about the flat earth, the North Pole in just a second. I want to share this first shout out here. Thanks for, thank you for the comment. Thanks for another some video. I just recently found your channel. I appreciate thanks for being here today. And I don't flattered. I want to shout out to you. I'm gonna share here a video that is sent to me. You guys see this video was like 14 years ago, Antarctica, and again you will not see. Guess what? You will not see here. Let me remove the comment just a second here. You will not see the sun behind the mountain. All right, this was uploaded like 14 years ago. Union Glacier base camp. You see the famous Mount Rosman there. So this is south. Okay. Now I'm gonna play. You see, the sun is west. You will never see that sun behind the mountain ever. Only on the fake TFE videos. See there? That's the sun west, and then he's gonna give it like 360, and then he's pointing north right there, north, and then east. No matter when, the only time you see the sun behind the mountain is with the fake experiment performed by Jaron Campanella and his buddies, all actors there. No sun behind Mount Rosman ever. I've never seen. I've watched Brazilian footage. They have bases over there. Everything you don't find. Never ever. All right, guys. I want to highlight to you. I've been uploading a lot of videos. I got a lot. You can find. But if you go to like the Flat Earth sermons, just this week I uploaded a whole bunch. I even uploaded like the base biblical cosmology. But this guy is from Scotland. It's a Bible cosmology, biblical cosmology uh, Bible study. So I don't mind if the person is from Africa, if it's a woman, if it's a man. It's we don't care. You know, as long as they are preaching about the flat Earth as a biblical model, I'm uploading the videos there. So it's really a channel reserved just for anything flat Earth Bible related. I upload that. I do give the credits when I can because sometimes those I find those videos like in Daily Motion or websites that don't have a link to the original. But if you have a link to the original, I always link there, like this person. So check out Flat Earth Sermons. All right, I'm always uploading. I'm gonna upload this week. I have 2 or 3 more. I sometimes make them available. I mean, public all at the same time. I just want to get them out there. Good Bible studies about flat Earth. You know, um, my channel here. I also have uploaded a couple interesting videos recently. This is the rate of descent of an aircraft proves flat Earth. Now, this is video. It was a radio interview. They interviewed the guy. He's the son of David Icke. His name is Jamie Icke. And he's working on a documentary for September. And he's a flat earther. He didn't want to say, but he ended up spilling the beans. Right here is this rate of descent. So he's working a documentary for the September. Only bad thing about it, it's like he interviewed David Wise, and David Wise is control opposition. He's gonna, I don't know, but it might be worth watching. And share and I'm always trying to at least every time a video hit reaches 1,000, I make another one public because I know I don't get a lot of views anyway. The channel is shadow banned, but at least 1,000. Wait until 1,000, then for example, I have a very good one coming up. As soon as this one here hits 1,000, I will make it another one public. If you do want to support this channel, you're welcome. This is the links that you can go. It's not required. It's only appreciated. Okay, I have an online store. You can get the t-shirts. Now Rick Hinkley, shout out to you. It has a Crisis King design there. Maps, like the Gleason's map that I have right here. If you want to become a Patreon, you know, 10 years here, 10 years, exactly 10 years online activity. I have just crossed the to a dozen patrons, like, 14, 15 patrons right now. So I was never really after that stuff, always gave a lot of my own resources into this. Only recently, for some health reasons, that I decided to have a Patreon. If you want to be part of it, I would appreciate, but it's never required. All my videos are here. You can download, you can share, upload to your platforms. As a matter of fact, I do ask you to upload to your platforms because mine is so shadow banned. Maybe yours is not as shadow banned as mine. All right, let's go back here to the live stream. I think we've gone for an hour, 20 minutes. Let me see what else we have. Let's see some of the comments here. So Lisa understands what I'm saying. Thank you, Lisa. What I'm saying, like, I'm not from the US. So having all those missionaries coming to Brazil, so what's the agenda? Why are those people preaching the whole thing? What's going on? Why are these guys willing to make everyone here to believe what they want, what they are believing? And I have to question because I see what's going on, especially when I found out, and that's documented. You can find this online. Many of those missionaries were not even missionaries; they were CIA agents. They were government agents. They were whatever, military agents, and they go to seminars and they get all this degree, but they are not what they seem to be. So I'm skeptical. I'm skeptical on everything, especially in the last 200 years, all those doctrines being pushed. I don't want to. I have to take a close look, and that's why I really, yeah, I wish Leonardo would get the facts, and I really wish it too. I wish he was more open-minded and say, okay, let me take a look at this. If you start by the prophecy, Daniel 9:20, Daniel chapter 9, there is no 2,000 years gap there, period. He should see it. He's smart. He dug into NASA's documents, U.S. military, Air Force. He wrote a book about it, but he turns a blind eye over something like this. I mean, it's disappointing. How can I not believe that he has an agenda like a Zionist agenda? And I understand because he wants to be elected, he wants to get into politics. So we all know if you don't support certain nation, it's very hard for you to get elected. So maybe he has the eyes on being elected. He's turning a blind eye to the other things, you know. So it's really like you have to self-examine yourself. Say, okay, so what am I doing here? What are my goals? What are my purpose? Am I here to spread the truth, or do I have an agenda? I want to get elected? I want to be a governor. So you have a lot of things that you need to look at, and you got to be completely free from these uh, scatological thoughts, and look at the facts. Let me show about. I want to show about this North Pole. I heard a short video from uh, JT. JT sometimes, he also doesn't look at, for example, Charlie Kirk stuff. He thinks it's real. So I don't understand. I don't totally agree with him. But he was saying, look at Psalms. Psalms, David talk about a temple, but the temple had not been built yet. And I did look, and that's right, because Solomon, his son, was the one who built the temple. So what temple was David talking about when he says the sides of the north, the mount of the north, the mountain of the Lord on the sides of the north? It's talking about the heavenly temple, the temple in the New Jerusalem that descended on earth at the North Pole for 1,000 years. So Psalm 5:7, but as for me, I will come into thy house, and in thy fear will I worship toward thy holy temple. So it couldn't be the temple in Jerusalem because the temple was not even built yet. Psalm 11:4, the Lord is in his holy temple. Again, it was the heavenly temple, not the temple in Jerusalem. So that's the temple Jesus will is setting upon. It's not the temple in Jerusalem, the new, I mean, the old Jerusalem, Middle East one. Psalm 18:6, he heard my voice out of his temple. Psalm 27:4, to inquire in his temple. Psalm 29:9, and in his temple doth everyone speak of his glory. Psalm 48:9, we have thought of thy loveliness in the midst of thy temple. Psalm 65:4, we shall be satisfied with the goodness of thy house, even of thy holy temple. And Psalm 79:1, they have defiled thy holy temple. Psalm 138:2, I will worship toward thy holy temple. So many things which are the house of the Lord and many sanctuary, you know, until I went into the sanctuary of God, thy way of God is in the sanctuary. So we know this is the heavenly temple in the New Jerusalem, the one that was, or it is, we don't know, we don't have access, at the North Pole. Not in that place they call, you know, Jerusalem today. All right, guys, so we are almost there. Let me see if I haven't forgotten anything. Um, oh, yeah, I want to share these pictures right here. I got it off a Telegram group. So this is and that's why I say to you guys have to watch it, even those North Pole and Bible study. Maybe I should share that stuff here. Let me see if I have it. I do. I think I have a link here for that. Uh, it's the whole North Pole. Yeah, just give me a minute. I'm gonna find it. What I did, he preached it like 5 Sundays concerning the North Pole. If you put it together, his 5 sermons like 10 hours because the music is playing and the whole music playing and everything there. Hold on, guys. Let me see if I find it here. Uh, and then what I did, I said, well, I downloaded everything. And then I added all the 5 videos together. Okay, I found it. I added all the videos together into like 3 parts, not 5 like as it has, 3. I took it away, all the songs, all the requests, all the communication, and I created a playlist, North Pole, right there. It's an excellent Bible study. And if I had not watched this one, I wouldn't be convinced that the North Pole is the site where the temple of God. That's why you have the northern lights right there, you know. So I'm gonna share with you if you have time this week. It's 3 parts. Part 1 here, part 2, part 3. I'm gonna share the whole playlist. It's 9 hours long, 8 and 9 hours. You watch the whole week. It's an excellent Bible study on the North Pole. And because of that, I was convinced, yeah, the North Pole is where the temple is, the holy mountain of God, not that place in the Middle East. Has nothing to do. So there's the playlist right there if you want to watch. And it's an excellent, maybe Dino should watch again his own Bible study and realize that the place in Jerusalem has nothing to do, and the 1,000 years reign of Christ is in the past. just as it was taught on all the Bibles until the 1700s, mid 1700s. Everything got changed in the 1800s. All right, guys. I hope you guys have, I don't know, learned something from today. All I'm asking you is to look at, you should watch, listen. It's an excellent, you know, uh, Bible study. I watch it literally. I watch it 3 times. I watch it when he preached it, and then when I download it, I edit. As I was editing, I was watching, removing this, and then after I uploaded everything, I watch it again to see if everything was all right. So I did watch 3 times. Okay, and it's very nice. You must watch. It's a must-watch Bible study, and perhaps he should watch it. His church should watch it. He should encourage his church to watch, instead of preventing them, caging them into the futurism lie, which because it is a lie. So, guys, I do appreciate you all for being here today. Thank you so much. You are my friends, my brothers in Christ and sisters in Christ, my flattered brothers, and it's very nice to hear from you, get messages from you. To meet, like I met a guy here from the Austin, Texas, traveling to Japan. If I can make it, if it's not far away, because I can't spend money going to Tokyo, Osaka. But if you're local here, Nagoya is a great city. It's the 3rd largest city in Japan. It's worthwhile visiting. And I hope I get to see you again next weekend. All right? Thanks so much. May the Lord bless each and every one of you. And I'll see you around. All right? Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Wonderful, magical, celestial light, fantastical, mystical, wonderful sight. Belgian Swiss physicist Auguste Piccard, 1931, first to reach for the stars, was the first to explore the air view stratospherius, a scientist curious to see what was there. An aluminium black ball on a helium balloon, hydrogen, with photos and instruments, sailed towards the moon, rose in just half an hour, 52,000 feet, 10 miles of depth air pressure, up a dead drop in heat and cold, but disproving gravity. Wonderful, mystical, beautiful sight, flat line separation of black from blue light, a world run by deceivers, false make-believers, hiding in shadows, stealing our light. Mystical, fluorescent light, wonderful, magical, awesome, yes, stealing our light. Wonderful, let there be light, supernatural, eternal, supernatural. Up we go, higher than rainbows, higher than mountains, above cumulonimbus, higher than air, high level horizon, 360 around us, but right round behind us, any height that you dare. The sun and the moon both revolve above around us, to forever short time pass intelligently there. You'll never beat us, you'll never defeat us, no more you deceive us, you through you like air. Kipper and Picard were the first ever known to reach up there. Divine luminescent light, mystical, wonderful, celestial light. So what was their eternal testimony? What did they report back to humanity? Said it seemed like a flat disk far as eyes can see, with an upturned edge fading into infinity. A mystical, ethereal, celestial sight, a divine creation, a clockwork of light, designed by deceivers and false make-believers, still cowering in shadows, still fearing when they reach for the stars. Explorers and physicists, Kipper and Picard. Never you'll defeat us, forever beneath us. We see through you like air.